In this video, we'll be performing an exercise to convert between percents, decimals, and fractional forms of a number. On the left, we have a chart showing the elemental percent of total body weight given a list of elements. First, we have oxygen. The percent of oxygen in the body is given as 65%. To convert a percent to a decimal, we take 65% divided by 100. In this case, the answer is 65 hundredths. To convert between a percent and a fraction, we again take 65 divided by 100, and this time we find the greatest common factor between them. In this case, it's 5, and then divide both the numerator and the denominator by that greatest common factor. 65 divided by 5 is 13. 100 divided by 5 is 20. To find the amount of the element in the body, we take a body weight, in this case 62 kilograms, and we multiply it by the percent. I'll use the decimal form here, which is 65 hundredths. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 1, 31. Add the 0. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 6, 36, plus 1 is 37. Adding these together, we get 40 and 3/10 of a kilogram. Next, for carbon, we see that carbon has a percent yield of 18.5%. Taking the decimal form, again, 18.5 divided by 100 is equal to 185 thousandths. The fractional form, because this is not a proper fraction with a decimal in the numerator, we multiply by 2. 18.5 times 2 is 37. 100 times 2 is 200. There is no common factor between 37 and 200, and so this is the answer for the fractional form. Again, multiplying by the decimal form, 62 kilograms times 185 thousandths, we get 10. 16 plus 1, 17. 2 plus 1, 3. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 8 is 48, plus 3 is 51. 6 times 1 is obviously 6, plus 5 is 11. Adding this together, and then taking the number of decimals shown here, which is 3, we see that it is 11 and 47 hundredths of a kilogram. For hydrogen, we see that the percent is 9.5. To convert to a decimal, we move the decimal place over 2 points, giving us 0.095 or 95 thousandths. The fractional form, 9.5 over 100 is not rational, and so we multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 2, giving us 19 over 200, which is as reduced as it can get, as 19 and 200 do not share any factors. And then finally, the amount of element in the body, we take 62 times 95 thousandths, and we see that we get 5 and 89 hundredths kilograms. In this video, we'll continue practicing the conversion between percents, decimals, and fractions, given the element percent of total body weight that we started in the last video. For nitrogen, we have 3.2%. In decimal notation, we move the decimal over 2 spaces to the left, which gives us 32 thousandths. In fractional form, 3.2, to get to a whole number, we have to multiply by 5. And so we get 16 over 500, which is about 4 over 125. And finally, the amount of element is 1 and 984 thousandths kilograms. And finally, with calcium, we have 1.5%, which we know is going to be 15 thousandths. 1.5 needs to be multiplied by 2, and so we get 3 over 200, which shares no factors. And finally, we have 93 hundredths of a kilogram. Some important reminders when multiplying and dividing by powers of 10. It is the same as if you are moving the decimal around by the number equivalent to the exponent in the power of 10. In this case, we are dividing by 10 squared, and so the decimal moves to the left 2 spaces. And we can see that in all of these decimal forms.